Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tea Time with Tara. I'm your host, Tara, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. I was actually trying to record from my front porch, but then there was some road work or something happening nearby, and so there was this constant beeping happening every couple of seconds from a truck backing up. So I changed my location. The purpose of that was just for me to try out a different space at home. It's a beautiful day out. It was getting a little bit hot, but also because I really want to find a place that I can invite some people over to chat and do some in-person recordings. So, all of that being said, I am back in my basement. I have my, I don't know, because it's blurred there. If I unblur it, my little co-host Bean here laying on a pile of pillows and blankets. I was even not originally planning on doing a video recording, but I decided why the hell not. I'm not feeling great. My daughter's been sick, and I may or may not have caught the cooties. Maybe I'm just tired, but I didn't do my hair. It's looking kind of, I mean, thank goodness. That I got an incredible haircut. Shout out to Rachel at Gumdrop in Montclair because she is a freaking magician with how she does my hair. She's just so incredible. So this is not an ad. This is just a genuine shout out because I feel like I don't have to style my hair very often now that I have been having her regularly cut my hair, which is wonderful. Anyway, I definitely didn't take my Adderall today, so I apologize in advance. I am really going to do my best to stay on track here. I am trying some new things out. This new season has not gone according to plan. I planned on launching, planned on doing all these different things. I kind of let somebody get in my head a little bit. I let somebody kind of push me before I was ready. And I was not planning on picking this back up. I really wasn't. And this person kind of came into my life like a freaking tornado and pushed me to do this. And I got really excited. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like all a negative thing, but I have since stepped away from working with this person and from associating with this person because of a lot of stuff that I'm not going to get into here because I'm not here to badmouth anybody. But I just kind of like want to give a little bit of background in case you're wondering where a certain episode may have disappeared to or certain content on my social media. I want to separate myself as far as possible from this person. And so that's why I did that. So if you know, you know, and if you don't, that's okay. Like I said, I'm not here to badmouth anybody, but it's really important that I protect myself and that I protect my brand. And part of that is not associating with certain people or certain brands. I am very excited because I have a lot of like little partnerships going on right now or upcoming. I will be announcing a few things in the coming episodes, and I am going to be doing more consistent, regular episodes. That is a huge priority of mine, especially now that I am not working with this other person. I was basically working a second job, and that took a lot of my time. And then it took a lot of my mental and emotional energy because not only was I working for this person, I was also doing a lot of emotional labor for this person. So I am kind of back and ready to get going. Have, like I said, I previously and have alluded to, I am going to do an episode with my dad. I am really, really looking forward to that. It's just like, it's something that I really have to plan very, very well for. And I really want to do that in person. And so, like, part of the mini mic thing is making sure that the audio quality is really good and just figuring out how to record what software I can use because, like, I love using Riverside. Shout out to Riverside. There is a like an affiliate link if you want a discount on using Riverside or trying out Riverside. That is at teatimetara.com. So gotta plug that there, of course. But I really love using Riverside for virtual. It has so many different things that, like, I actually had a meeting that I recorded to have an AI summary afterwards. So like it's got a lot of great features and I really love it, but that's for like virtual. And so I could do an in-person recording, but I haven't really figured out how to do that. Like maybe use my phone and a mini mic and then my computer and another mic, but then like I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I am going off on this again. Completely ADD tangent right now. Maybe I should have taken my Adderall, but I wasn't even planning on recording today. And I came home and was like, shit, I could like do laundry, but I could also record a show that I've been dying to record. So here we are in my basement, not on my front porch, which eventually I would love to share my front porch with y'all. But I feel like maybe that would be more of an evening thing because it's a lot quieter in the evenings. I feel like my road gets a little bit busy during the daytime, people walking their dogs. I live near a couple of businesses, and so there's just a lot of activity. And then, of course, the road work going on apparently during the daytime that I had no idea about. So let's get back on track. Thank you for bearing with me. Thanks for going through that whole little business. What is it called? Fuck, I don't know. The is it like it's not bookkeeping? I don't know. Whatever. I'm ready. I'm so ready. This is not just another episode. This is the start of a mini series that's been sitting with me for a long time. I've had, I think, at least one episode about this previously, but not only did I not do a really deep dive, but I feel like I've learned so much since I recorded that episode. So today we are starting episode 1 of a mini series about diving into why communication can feel so incredibly hard in relationships, even when we love each other, even when both of us want to do better, or one of you, whatever. But let me just say from the beginning, I know every relationship is different. Every person brings their own history, their own patterns, their own wounds. There's no one size fits all explanation here. What I am hoping to do is to look at some of the common threads, especially in heterosexual relationships, because a lot of us are walking around with the same frustrations, the same confusion, and the same silence. In heterosexual relationships specifically, I feel like there is a different dynamic between the masculine and feminine and the impacts that socialization and society and patriarchy have had on how we navigate relationships and the things that we've learned. So that's why I make that caveat that it is more focused on heterosexual relationships. But I do feel like, regardless of your gender identity or your sexuality, that there are going to be things that resonate with you either way. So bear with me. I'm just going to be speaking in terms of a heterosexual relationship because of what I had said before. All right. First part, we are going to start with the basics. Obviously, communication is hard. I don't think that, like, until I became an adult, I don't even know, like, what's the milestone of becoming an adult, but I do kind of feel like I'm very, very in my adult era, right? I'm a mother of two. I have a career. I am living with my partner, navigating all of this very adult shit, right? So communication is hard, not just because of words or tone or timing, but because we all have learned different things on how to do relationships. We've all learned from our families, from our past relationships, from the media we consume, whether it is, TV or podcasts or social media even. And we've all missed out on learning things like how to stay calm during conflict, about how to take feedback without shutting down or getting defensive, and how to speak up without guilt or hostility. We're not broken. We're just working with tools no one taught us how to use, or without any tools, right? And every single one of us brings our own lived experience into each situation and each relationship. So, again, this may not apply to everyone. I mean, it certainly won't. But I do hope that you'll hear yourself in parts of this and maybe feel a little less alone and hopefully learn something too, because obviously that's my why. That's why I continue to do this. There's this idea that keeps coming up for me a lot on Instagram. I see things speaking about how relationships are a mirror, and that really resonates with me. They reflect not just the love and connection, but all the stuff that we don't want to see too. A mirror is going to show us everything, even the parts that we've buried, the habits that we've picked up for survival, and the wounds that we haven't healed. The moment when your partner says, "You're not listening to me," and you feel your stomach drop or your chest get really tight, that's the mirror. And we all react to the mirror in different ways. Some of us will just avoid it altogether. If I don't like what I see, I'm not going to look. Some of us blame it like there's something wrong. There must be something wrong with that mirror, right? There must be something wrong because I don't like what I'm seeing. And so it's not me, it's the mirror. And some of us break it because we hate it so much. But what would happen if we just looked into it with curiosity instead of with judgment or fear? Let's walk through some patterns that you might recognize. One, the shutdown spiral. One person opens up emotionally, the other gets quiet, shuts down, or walks away. Not to hurt, but often because they feel overwhelmed or flooded. I am that person. When I feel like a discussion is getting too overwhelming or heated, my immediate response is to walk away. Like fight or flight right away. My brain is like, get out of there, bitch. And I'm really working on recognizing that because this creates a loop. The person who has opened up or expressed their feelings then feels abandoned or rejected. And the person who shuts down then feels inadequate or afraid of saying the wrong thing. And it creates this sense of insecurity and lack of safety in the relationship. So over time, this creates a dynamic of resentment unless it is named and worked through. Sometimes the shutdown partner was raised in an environment where expressing their feelings, expressing their emotions led to punishment, which is where I come from. I was not allowed to have feelings as a kid. Every time that I cried, I would get my ass kicked. I'm telling you, like the amount of times that I was told, stop crying, stop crying, stop crying, and then like repeatedly hit for it, I cannot even count. And I was a very small child when this was happening. So I actually have a scar on my face, on my one of my eyebrows. I think it's this one for those of you who are watching. I think that's the scar from having grabbed by my hair and my face smashed into a kitchen cabinet. It wound up hitting the cabinet handle. I was 4 years old. And so, just to give an idea of the kind of upbringing that would cause somebody to have that fear response and feel like, oh no, I am not allowed to have feelings. Somebody is expressing their feelings very intensely. I got to get the fuck out of here. And yeah, I'm almost 38 years old, but that fear response is so deeply embedded in me. I have spent years in therapy trying to work through it. I have done EMDR and biofeedback and cognitive behavioral therapy, talk therapy, all of it. And I still see a therapist regularly. And I'm still working through those things, not because I'm not capable of it, but because some trauma is very complex. I think I've talked about CPTSD in other episodes, so I won't go on a whole tangent here. Just again, this is not about like feeling sorry for me. I'm doing okay. I have thankfully, like, what's it called, incorporated a lot of that trauma and have done a lot of healing and growth, but there are just some things that become like a part of you. That's the kind of stuff that people might be dealing with to one extreme or another. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has had that experience. I'm just saying like that's an example, right, of why somebody might be reacting the way that they're reacting, and you might not know that. And even if you do know that, even if you do know that about your partner's past, it still might not, like, it's really hard to understand unless you've been through it and unless you're experiencing it. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So, because of that, right? Because of having been emotionally shut down all the time, like being told you are not allowed to have an opinion, express your feelings, or anything. People in those kinds of situations were probably not given the tools to process feelings out loud. It's not that they are not willing to do that. It's not that they are incapable. It's just that they are not equipped. And the partner that is expressing their feelings, typically it's because of seeking connection. Like people don't just say shit for funsies, right? Like we usually are telling our partner something because we are trying to connect. We have an unmet need or something, right? And so it then leaves the partner that is expressing their feelings feeling ashamed or frustrated because their need for closeness and communication is completely valid. The second scenario is the fix it response. So someone shares a vulnerable feeling, and instead of being met with empathy, like, I'm really sorry that you feel that way, or that must be really hard, they're given a solution like, well, you just need to do this. But here's the thing, most of us don't want a solution, right? We just want to be heard. We just want to be felt with. We want our experience and our feelings to be acknowledged before anything else. Offering solutions too soon can feel very dismissive of the emotions entirely. It's not about the problem, it's about the pain and those emotions behind it. It might not necessarily be pain, it could be frustration, overwhelm, etc. But it's about those feelings behind it. So many people use problem solving as a way to manage their own discomfort with emotion. It can actually be a self soothing behavior for the fixer, even though it disconnects them from the partner who is sharing their emotions. And that is totally unconscious. Number three is the scorecard, keeping tally of who's right, who has apologized last, or who contributes more. This turns a relationship into a competition where someone always has to lose. But in real connection and in a healthy relationship, there's no scoreboard. There's just the question, are you okay? Are you safe with each other right now? Scorekeeping is often a symptom of unspoken resentments. It builds over time when someone doesn't feel appreciated, for example, or validated or seen. And instead of voicing those feelings of vulnerability, they stack it up as silent ammunition to use against their partner later because they do not know how to express those feelings. Number four, I think we're on number four, unspoken expectations. We all do this. We assume our partner should know what we need because we've been together long enough or because we think it's obvious. But people aren't mind readers. When expectations go unspoken, they usually go unmet, and that breeds silent resentment. Naming our needs isn't selfish, it's actually one of the most normal things that we can do. But for many of us, naming our emotions feels absolutely terrifying. Maybe you were shamed for asking for help, or your needs were met with ridicule in the past. So now, instead of asking directly, you hint or you stay quiet and hope. You might also think that you are communicating clearly, that you are having a certain need or saying something pretty directly. But a lot of times, and I will say this for myself especially, I've realized that I have not been as direct about what my need is. Like, I'll give you an example. Me and my partner get into an argument and I need a minute, right? I need a minute because I need to collect myself and I don't want to raise my voice or say something I don't mean. So I need a minute to collect myself, to calm down, and to revisit the situation, the discussion with a clear mind. And so my reaction, and part of this is a trauma response, right? Is to say, like, I'm not doing this right now. I'm not doing this right now. And what I mean is, I can't do this right now. Like, I emotionally and cognitively cannot even think clearly right now. And I want to communicate with you and I want to give you the attention that you deserve and the respect that you deserve. And I am not capable of doing that right now. So I need a minute. I need a minute to calm down before I proceed, before this conversation goes any further. Um, I'm thinking all of these things, right? But all I'm actually saying is I can't do this, or I need a minute, or I'm not doing this, or I don't want to talk right now, or I don't want to argue, like very short, because that's all my brain is capable of saying in those moments. And so for me, I am working on being able to say, I don't want to argue with you right now, and I need a few minutes to cool off so that we can revisit this conversation, right? Because that's what I'm thinking. That's what I mean in my brain, that's what I'm thinking, but that is not what is coming out of my mouth. So that is an example of like your partner can't read your mind, right? You think that you're communicating clearly. You said some shit, right? You said what you needed, right? I need some space. Could be that simple. I need some space, but why? Because if you're not giving the other part of like, hey, I'm not abandoning this. This matters to me, then your partner is going to end up feeling frustrated or abandoned or unheard or, variety of emotions. And they are totally valid. This is a pattern that can be unlearned, but it requires intention and a safe space. None of this means that your relationship is doomed. These are just signs that deeper needs aren't being met or even spoken. These patterns often become our go to, not because we are trying to hurt each other, but because we're trying to protect ourselves. And if no one names what's really going on underneath, we keep repeating the same dance over and over. So now we're going to talk about why. Why does this happen? Let's talk about what's happening under the surface of all of these things. Our upbringing, like I mentioned before, if emotion wasn't safe growing up, if you were told to stop crying, to be tough, or if expressing anger or sadness led to punishment or shame, you learn to shut down. And remember that you are a tiny little wee one when you experience this shit. So that stuff becomes so embedded in our development, in our brains during development, rather, that it's like I said, a part of you. Maybe you were the peacemaker in your home, always smoothing things over. These roles do not just vanish. We bring them into our adult relationships, sometimes and most of the time without realizing it. And for some people, communication isn't just hard, it's triggering. Like I mentioned earlier, it brings up childhood wounds or survival patterns that were once necessary but are now damaging to emotional safety. This is everything. If you express how you feel and you get criticized, dismissed, or punished, your nervous system will remember that. You start to associate expressing your emotions with being in danger. And that's where the real breakdown begins, not in what's said, but in how safe it is to even say it. Emotional safety doesn't mean avoiding hard conversations, it means creating an environment where honesty doesn't cost you connection. Gender norms. This plays out a lot more than we think. Many men are socialized to equate vulnerability with weakness. They're told to man up. They're praised for being strong, for being stoic, self reliant, and punished emotionally or socially for showing fear or sadness or any kind of vulnerability. Women, on the other hand, are often expected to be emotional caretakers, to de escalate, to manage the vibe. So one partner might be shutting down because they've never felt safe being emotional, while the other is desperately trying to get them to open up, creating frustration on both sides. And let's be real, a lot of women end up resenting their partners for not doing emotional labor, while many men feel inadequate or overwhelmed, but don't have the language to say so. We are trying to build intimacy on top of decades of programming that told us to do the opposite. Understanding where these patterns come from doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it does help us respond with more compassion and it gives us a better shot at changing them. That's it for today. I hope that this episode made you feel seen. I hope that it got you thinking about the dynamics in your own relationships. Please just know that this is the beginning. In the next episode, we're going to look at the emotional labor and the unspoken roles we take in relationships, especially the way women are often expected to carry the emotional weight for two, though there are men that do this as well. I actually have some friends who do carry a lot of the emotional labor, and they are men. So, this again, we're talking about gender stereotypes, but this is not a one size fits all. And some of this stuff might resonate with you, whether you are a he, she, or a they. Just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, until then, I would love to hear your thoughts. I am especially open to hearing your stories, your questions, your perspectives. If you want to share or even get involved in this series in any way, please reach out. I have had a few people reach out already through Instagram. And so I'm going to start incorporating some listener stories or listener comments in my upcoming episodes in this series. So feel free to reach out. You can find me a few different ways. You can find me at teatime.tara on Instagram and TikTok. Facebook, I'm pretty sure if you just search Tea Time with Tara podcast, there is another Tea Time with Tara. She started after me, so hopefully her shit dies out. I don't think she's a podcast. She's like a whatever. I don't want to plug somebody else. Point being, you know my logo, so that's my page. You can also watch full video episodes over on my YouTube channel at Tea Time with Tara. And of course, you can visit teatimetara.com. I will have all the links there for wherever you can find me. There will also be blog posts. I'll be continuing my blog, other ways to connect, a bunch of affiliate links. So if you're looking for a discount on something, especially glasses, I have at least one link there for like a discount on glasses. I have all kinds of stuff. I can't even keep track anymore. But that is it for today. As always, speak your truth and don't take anyone's shit. Bye.